Boots needs a Brian Norman Jr. He needs a Barrios. He needs these names like to be able to, establish his legacy.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Virgil Ortiz, those
What you
kind of
think
guys.
about that situation? About people talking about him ducking that fight February 22nd.
Well, I think it's more of Virgil moved up to 54, Boost is 47, so Boost is still trying to he want to unify at 47, so it don't make no sense to go to 54, and I agree because look, man, it's like the mistake I made when I was 154 and I was dominating and I was knocking everybody out and I put myself in position the number one mandatory for the world title. I prematurely then moved up to fight Golovkin at 60. You know what I'm saying? Where I was already the mandatory at 54. But at the time, you know what I'm saying, I'm young, I'm excited. It's HBO, is the champion, it's the world title. So I prematurely
That was
moved.
the stage you wanted to be on.
Yeah, it was, but you gotta that's why it's so important to have the right team and handlers to because a fighter's supposed to want to fight. You want a fighter to have that kind of attitude. But the problem was, it was like it didn't make no sense for me, business wise as well. Where it's like, yeah, I'm making good money because I'm moving up in this Triple G and this HBO and this Madison Square Garden. But timing is everything in boxing. Timing is so important. And you got to respect timing. And it wasn't my time to move up to 60, and I made that mistake. And by doing that, even though I put on a gutsy performance and the fans still wanted to see me, I wasn't able to go back to 54 because then everybody at 54 was like, "No, we ain't fighting Gabe," because I was too
You just
big and I was knocking dudes out at 54. So I stood at 60 off a straight. I ain't have a choice. So now I had to like kind of grow into the weight division. You know what I'm saying? So it don't make no sense to move up prematurely, man. So for Boost to say, "Nah, I'm gonna dominate at 47, and when the time is right, I'll move up to 54." That's the right thing to do.
I like that you came on here to relieve that because you took your own career and put it in that situation as an
Yeah,
analogy.
yeah,
Because as boxing fans, you don't really understand that. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like we don't understand how to move a career.
yeah. No, man, it's an art, and the thing is that at the same time, another thing that happened to me when I moved up, I didn't know that they was gonna strip me of my number one mandatory at 54. So I thought I could move up, fight for the world title at 60, and I thought I would still have my mandatory at 54, which was K9 at the time.
Hey,
It
man.
was Umbridge, and I would, you know what I'm saying? Like, so when I moved up, they took away my mandatory. So I was like, damn, I didn't even know that would happen. So yeah, man, like moving a fighter, man, is a skill, is an art. You know what I'm saying? Like if you look at how Canelo was moved, you know what I'm saying, and how if you look at how Berlanga was moved, you know what I'm saying, Berlanga was able to capitalize and then fight Canelo because of how they moved him. You could judge it, and you could be like, oh, he wasn't fighting nobody, whatever, but it was a strategy. You know what I'm saying? And that's really how it is. You got to look at it like that too. You know what I'm saying? It's an art in how you move a fighter. You can move a fighter too fast, and you could damage them, and it really depends on the mentality of the fighter. Because let's say there's two prospects and they're 20 years old. One of those 20-year-olds is way much more mature than the other guy. So the one that's not that mature, you gotta move him slowly. But the other 20-year-old is probably like, his life been crazy. He like a grown ass man already, where he can handle the pressure differently than the other guy. You know what I'm saying? Like Mike Tyson, heavyweight champion at 20. Ain't
Mm-hmm.
nobody. How many 20-year-olds now could be heavyweight champion? You know what I'm saying?
Nah, nobody.
Yeah, yeah. So that mindset is different. Mike was a grown ass man by the time he was like 14 and shit. So by the time he's 20, like, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so is the mentality is different too. It's not always about the skill. It's about the mindset of the fighter. You know what I'm saying? You got to understand the fighter's mindset.
But what about the Teofimo Lopez fight? Bob Arum saying that he's wants to entertain that fight for Boots. What you think
The-
that does that fight make sense? Of Teofimo Lopez moving up to get that title?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, Teal got to just get in the ring already. And who cares who it is at this point? Because, Teal been out of the ring for a minute now. And it's like, it's a different name every time you're hearing about Teal. Is he want to fight Crawford, or he want to fight this guy, he want to fight this guy. So it's like, I think Teal losing his mind right now. Not getting
Mm-hmm.
it. Like, man, I just want to see Teal just jump in the ring, fight whoever at this point. You know what I'm saying?
So you when you say he's losing his mind, do you feel like he really wants that fight?
No, no. When I say he's losing his mind, I'm saying he's losing his mind because he ain't active.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? He's not. He's not. It's crazy, man. Because who the hell is managing Teal? Like, who's his manager, bro? Because it's like it's crazy. How the hell you beat Lumachenko and what was it, Campbell? What was the other
That,
guy?
that he Richard Comey first,
Oh
then he
yeah,
fought, then he got the title from Richard Comey,
yeah,
then he beat Lomachenko, then he had Josh Taylor.
yeah. Taylor, there it is, there it is. So it's like how you beating these top dudes and you was popping, and then all of a sudden you just fall off. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy. It's bad. It's bad business, man. It's like, Teal should be right there in the mix to fight Tank, to fight, Shakur, like to fight these big names. And it's like the fact that it's like, you know, these fights ain't even close to happening is kind of crazy. You know what I'm saying? And I
Mm-hmm.
think bad for Teal because Teal was a fighter that fights off rhythm. Teal is like if you look at his style is very loose and very, I mean, he's very animated. So he's like when a fighter's very animated in his kind of style, you got to keep that dude busy because it just he fights off rhythm. So it's like, man, Teal goes back into the ring with, like, let's say a Crawford or a Boots. It's like, bro, that rhythm ain't gonna be the same. You know what I'm saying? That's why he need to stay active, keep him in that flow.
That makes a good point. You make a
Yeah,
good point on that. That
yeah, yeah, yeah.
he because a lot of people do say he does fight off of his oppositions. Um,
Yeah.